The drama surrounding the Indiana Fever's showdown with the Dallas Wings wasn't just another game on the schedule. It became a boiling point in a season already defined by adversity, injuries, and controversial officiating. At the center of it all stood Aliyah Boston, visibly furious as her team's comeback bid collapsed under what many called blatant referee mismanagement. To understand why this loss stings so deeply, you have to peel back the layers of everything that led to those final gut-wrenching seconds and the fallout that followed. The Fever entered this matchup against Dallas already reeling. Their entire point guard depth chart had been obliterated in the span of days. Cydney Coulson tore her ACL. Arie MacDonald fractured her foot. Caitlin Clark was still out nursing a groin injury. That left Indiana with no true ball handlers, no floor generals to steady possessions or dictate tempo. What should have been a routine mid-season game turned into a survival test. To patch the bleeding, the team scrambled to sign veteran Odyssey Sims to a hardship contract. She had barely one practice under her belt before being thrown into the fire, and it showed. For much of the night, Indiana was essentially running without a steering wheel. That burden fell squarely on Kelsey Mitchell. Normally the team's lethal scorer, she was forced into the role of lead guard, carrying both playmaking and scoring duties while under constant defensive pressure. Dallas trapped her, doubled her, shoved her baseline to baseline, and still she fought back, pouring in 24 points while setting up teammates when her own looks were cut off. Her resilience was the only reason Indiana had life late in the game. She hit threes when they looked dead, slashed through traps for layups, and even acted as the emotional leader, motioning for defensive intensity after clutch baskets. Mitchell was the heartbeat of the Fever that night, but asking one player to do everything eventually comes at a cost. Even without their natural floor structure, Indiana showed the kind of grit that has defined their season. Sophie Cunningham played like her jersey was on fire, diving for loose balls, jawing at defenders, and drilling shots that swung momentum. Chloe Bibby, in just 12 minutes, hit all 3 of her threes, including a dagger that kept the Fever in striking distance. Natasha Howard was a fortress inside, erasing Dallas drives and finishing with a double-double. Boston herself gave the kind of bruising interior presence only she can provide, battling through heavy contact for 14 points and vital post touches that prevented the Fever's offense from collapsing into nothing but perimeter prayers. It wasn't perfect basketball, it was survival basketball, and for 3 quarters, Dallas looked like the team with the upper hand. But then Indiana punched back. The Fever stormed into the 4th quarter and outscored Dallas 25-4, clawing back from a double-digit hole to put themselves in position for the win. It should have been a storybook comeback, the kind of victory that defines character and silences doubts about depth. Instead, the finish turned into a nightmare that left players, coaches, and fans seething. With 11.7 seconds left, trailing by 1, Indiana secured a rebound. This was the moment to regroup, call timeout, and draw up a final shot. Instead, head coach Stephanie White held the whistle, choosing to let Mitchell push in transition. What followed was a rushed, heavily contested jumper that missed. Dallas grabbed the rebound. Only then did White call timeout, with just 1.7 seconds left, far too late to salvage a meaningful play. After the game, she admitted bluntly that she should have used it earlier. That rare moment of self-critique underscored the stakes of the mistake. In a season defined by razor-thin margins, hesitation cost them everything. But the timeout fiasco wasn't the only controversy. Officiating once again loomed large, and this time the Fever's frustrations boiled over. In the 4th quarter, Boston fought for position under the rim only to have her arm clamped by Dallas's center. Rather than calling the foul on the defender, referees inexplicably whistled Boston. Indiana challenged, but the review upheld the call, shocking even veteran broadcaster Rebecca Lobo, who expected it overturned. Instead of a key possession swinging their way, Indiana lost both the call and their last timeout. That decision felt less like a mistake and more like a gut punch, a ruling so baffling that Boston herself walked off the floor shaking her head in disbelief. It didn't stop there. Sophie Cunningham was tagged with a flagrant foul on a closeout against Paige Buchers after review, even though just earlier Buchers had committed nearly identical contact that had also been ruled flagrant. Later, Mitchell was hammered on a jumper with no whistle at all. For players already stretched to their limits, the inconsistency was devastating. How can you game plan for basketball when the rules feel like they change depending on the jersey you're wearing? White put words to what everyone felt. Kelsey is held on every possession and never gets calls. Boston, she said flatly, is the most poorly officiated post player in the league. Those aren't throwaway comments. That's a coach, tired of holding back, saying what fans have been screaming all season. The body language told the story too. Cunningham boiling over after being shoved by Buchers, visibly mouthing an expletive before walking off. Clark, sidelined but engaged, clapping sarcastically in the referee's direction after the buzzer. Boston herself stepping into a heated exchange between her coach and an official, her frustration written across her face until Clark calmed her. The toll was visible, the anger real. Post-game, Boston kept her words short but piercing, "We need better focus." On the surface, it was a call for accountability. But anyone watching knew it was also a thinly veiled jab at how external chaos, officiating chaos, stripped them of the rhythm they fought so hard to build. The loss was more than just a number in the standings. Dallas is a bottom-3 team, more interested in draft picks than playoff positioning, yet Indiana couldn't put them away. That defeat pushed the Fever to 18-15, dropping them to 6th place and tightening the playoff race. Every game now carries the weight of their season, and this one was supposed to be a momentum booster. Instead, it's a scar. Fans called for White's job. Others defended her, noting she's held the team together despite catastrophic injuries. Either way, the narrative shifted. It wasn't about the players' fight, the resilience, the heart. It was about decisions and whistles that felt ripped from their control. And that's why Aliyah Boston's fury resonates so deeply. It wasn't just anger at losing. It was the anger of knowing they did enough to win, only to have it undone by a mixture of tactical hesitation and officiating inconsistency. For a team already playing with patched-up lineups and makeshift roles, that's a wound that doesn't heal easily. They had Dallas beaten. They had the comeback written. They had the chance to prove that even stripped of their stars, they were still dangerous. But all of it was stolen in the blink of an eye. Now the Fever must decide whether this loss breaks them or galvanizes them. Clark's return looms, but in the meantime, every game is a test of patience, focus, and composure. Boston's words will echo, better focus. Because in a league where officiating controversies have become as common as highlight plays, focus might be the only thing they can control. Yet fans can't shake the suspicion that no matter how locked in they become, the scales aren't balanced. And until that changes, nights like Dallas will keep haunting the Indiana Fever. So, what do you think? Was Stephanie White right to trust her players in transition instead of calling that timeout? Were the referees simply inconsistent, or was this another example of bias against Boston and Mitchell? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next breakdown.